to find survivors of the collapsed building. The 5-story building on Victoria Street spontaneously caved in last Monday, while 81 people were on site. 49 have been freed from the rubble and 32 others remain unaccounted for. 14 of the survivors remain hospitalized. Emergency crews are still digging through tons of concrete to locate survivors. Police Minister Becky Seal says the property developer, the contractors, and the subcontractors have not been forthcoming with information to assist in the investigation. Families are still waiting for answers about the fate of their loved ones. They are pleading with authorities to fast-track the identification process, while rescuers are still hoping to save more of those trapped beneath the debris. Police have criticized subcontractors and contractors for not being forthcoming with that information. The Neo-Trend Group has been identified as the property owner, while Leotel is the principal contractor. Along with 6 subcontractors, building plans were submitted to the municipality in December 2022 and approved 7 months later. The 42 apartments were to be handed over to their new owners in July. However, with the block of flats now destroyed, those involved are reluctant to cooperate with investigations into the collapse. Forensic pathologists say most of the bodies being pulled out of the rubble in George now are in a state of decomposition. Difficulties are being experienced in obtaining accurate names of individuals missing or deceased due to the building collapse. The death toll from the building collapse is 32 at this stage. The recovery process continues. Forensic Pathology Services Assistant Director Floyd Hurwell says, and I quote, "Right now, due to the bodies being recovered, they are in a state of decomposition, so that makes the visual identification a little more tricky and a little more difficult. Normally, we would not show any pictures to families of any bodies in a state of decomposition, but because of the situation that we find ourselves in, we have to sensitize the family members to the fact that the pictures might be gory, but it will assist us." The highly trained Belgian Malin law dogs have been working alongside the rescue workers. Sergeant Nicola Costa from the Cow Canine Unit in the Eastern Cape and her dog, Dina, have been working tirelessly for the last week to assist in the rescue operation. What we are doing is we are working to shifts, a day shift and a night shift. We have the dogs on
the site,
shift, so
and
we use them to
a lot of
search,
cheers
and we take
as you
turns,
heard this.
and every time,
But yes, just overall excitement is that patient is now
utilize the other one,
being
and their hits have been spot on all the time. Western Cape Police have confirmed that an investigation has been initiated following an accident in Kraaifontein yesterday morning at around 9:05 on the N1 in the direction of Parle, where a vehicle attached to Public Order Police based in for was involved. 9 police officers who were traveling overturned and landed in the median. No other vehicles were involved and no prisoners escaped, as suggested by social media posts doing the rounds. The circumstances surrounding the incident are under investigation, while the officers are being treated for their injuries. Several motorists across South Africa have fallen victim to marauding gangs of criminals purporting to be police officers, who stop the unsuspecting drivers and rob them. Commonly referred to as blue light gangs, the brazen criminals confront drivers by effecting roadblocks or instruct drivers to stop while purporting to be members of the South African Police Service, SAPS, or municipal police. At times, the criminals drive vehicles with insignia of the police or use flashing blue lights, and in other incidents, the robbers wear police uniform or display police appointment cards. Last month, 3 alleged criminals were shot dead on a Sunday night during an exchange of gunfire with police officers. At the time, Brigadier Brenda Miradili, Gauteng police spokesperson, said the 3 were part of the infamous blue light criminal gangs terrorizing motorists on the infamous N3 between Villers and Heidelberg. A renowned criminologist, Professor Kalafelo Rakubu, who highlighted that motorists across South Africa have become sitting ducks because as events unfold, drivers cannot distinguish between bona fide police officers and the imposters. Is it a catch-22 situation for motorists in South Africa? A definite yes. There is no law that protects motorists from this crime, and it is highly impossible to recognize a bogus or imposter officer from a legitimate office, since they both utilize same tools of trades, uniform and blue lights amongst other, she said. Motorists have always been advised to only stop at the nearest garage. However, not all deserted roads have garages nearby. This advice exposes motorists to victimization. Rakubu said the impersonators use law enforcement-related tools that include cars and motorcycles, emergency car lights, which are red and blue, clothing items including fake uniforms, police vests and belts, counterfeit badges, weapons such as guns or batons, handcuffs, phones and radios, speakers, and horns to mislead their people. Offenders either use one of these tools or different combinations thereof to develop their character. In most cases, the offenders use emergency lights, blue lights placed on their cars, and they pull over random individuals, said Rakubu. Some of these impersonators wore a police uniform or a t-shirt with the word police on it. The more prepared offenders pulled out a fake badge and a weapon to further intimidate their victims. Rakubu is the head of department at Tshwane University of Technology's recently merged Department of Law, Safety and Security Management. She said it was common law in South Africa that motorists comply when stopped by police officers anywhere, any time of the day, even at deserted roads and secluded areas. Therefore, impersonators use legal behavior to carry out illegal acts when impersonating officers to rob motorists, Rakubu said. As a result, this form of social identity theft has tremendously reduced citizens' trust in law enforcement, continues to ruin the reputation of official agencies, and undermines legitimate police work, she said. Thus, even though impersonation crimes typically target civilians, they also harm police organizations and police personnel. She said the scourge of crime has festered because of factors including lack of proper monitoring tools to monitor dismissed police officers, theft and sale of police kits, particularly uniform, belts, badges, corruption within the law enforcement agencies, and criminal actions of disgruntled police officers and soldiers. On the other hand, outspoken anti-crime activist and investigative television personality Yusuf Abramji told IOL at times the criminals within the blue light gangs are rogue members of the police. The problem of blue light gangs on the prowl has continued for some time. We are seeing more and more incidents where fake cops, sometimes even real cops, are involved in robberies and hijackings, said Abramji, who presents investigative anti-crime show Crime Watch on ETV and Enka. I posted a video of a traffic officer in north of Pretoria this week with his motorcycle pulling off a truck, and then the hijackers arrive and take the driver, hold him hostage and take the truck, he said. This is one of many incidents where either police or Metro Police officials are involved in truck hijackings and other crimes, which is a cause for concern. He said although police have made some breakthroughs in arresting some culprits and recovering some uniforms and firearms, the crime still continues. It appears that a number of small or copycat gangs are on the prowl, said Abramji. I would not be surprised if some of these gangs are using or are being abated by real police officers. The police have made a number of seizures, and sometimes we often see cloned police vehicles being used. Some of these vehicles have been seized and some arrests have been made, he said. The big question is, where do they get the blue lights and uniforms? On uniforms, clearly they get them from genuine cops, which is a real concern. Blue lights are sometimes being openly bought at flea markets and Chinatowns, and the police really need to clamp down on that. As advised to motorists, Abramji said when signaled to stop by people purporting to be police officers, Motorists should put on their hazard lights, slow down, and get to the side of the road and communicate that they are going to stop at the nearest police station or filling station. Make hand signs that they should follow you to a safe place, he said. People do not feel safe on the roads, and that is why sometimes, even when real cops stop you, people get very anxious and nervous because we've seen in some cases where people were kidnapped for ransom after being stopped by people purporting to be genuine cops. The blue light gangs are very dangerous. Last year, 2 members of the Schwein Metro Police Department, TMPD, and a third man, believed to be their accomplice, were arrested and charged for truck hijacking on the R21 highway in Gauteng. At the time, spokesperson for the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department EMPD, Lieutenant Colonel Kalebajau Thepa, said the 3 are members of a truck hijacking syndicate operating on the busy road. Trouble started for the TMPD officers in their police uniform when they were spotted along the R21 in Ekurhuleni by alert MPD officers. The TMPD officers were traveling in a stolen gray BMW 3 Series vehicle, which was now fitted with blue police lights.